did. They had kind of an outline that they follow, but then they just kind of bounce around the topics. So, you know, that's how it goes. Anyway, we should be live now. It's showing we're live. I think we're live. Hey guys, welcome back to another Plasticast. I'm joined here by the entire crew. So, how y'all doing tonight?
Pretty good. Rainy here, but not bad.
Brett?
Oh, it was beautiful today in Florida.
Got to be better than where I'm at.
Was it cold?
Not for this time of year.
We actually had
too warm then.
The last 2 days.
We were in the 90s at one point.
Ooh, that's nasty. Hey, the last 2 days for us, it was overcast all day, and then last night it got down to like 65, and today the high was 80.
Horrible.
I think we're only supposed to get into the mid 80s the rest of the week, so it's gonna be a nice week.
I know you're gonna have to get a jacket.
I'm too large to need that. I have too much hair.
All I know is that it gets down in the 70s in Florida and they get jackets and stuff. It's too cold.
A lot of people do. I have northern blood in me, so I can I put a little hoodie on or something like that when it gets down to the 50s or something like that, right? But I wear shorts. Wear shorts year round.
Yeah. When 2 inches of snow shuts down Atlanta.
Oh, if it snowed this far south into Orlando, it would be an apocalypse.
That is true.
I would also be very I wouldn't my car. I only have a rear wheel drive car,
which is the best.
Yeah.
If you go up north, number one priority is good tires and all-wheel drive. If you go down to Florida, it's a good AC. That's it. Oh, and tinted windows.
Wait. Okay, I can say my old BMW had tinted windows, but I never had AC. So I drive around with windows open. I mean, come on. Grew up in Arizona. I was used to it being hot. So
Yeah, I grew up with 255 air conditioning, 2 windows down, 55 miles an hour.
Exactly. What's AC?
My life.
Well,
I never had air conditioning growing up, but once I got it, I'm like, I can live with this. I cannot live without it.
That's true, but let's talk about some things that popped up, such as, we got the Oregon Trail here as a transformer now.
I got that reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I laughed. I didn't think about it when I first saw that Optimus.
I saw it when I saw the little carriage when they were showing the pictures. I thought of that actually.
Yeah, I saw that picture and saw there was a legit Autobot symbol, and I'm thinking, okay, this is not third party. What the hell is this? I would have never guessed they would be doing timelines in the Edo period. That's something out of Sentai right there. I was hoping they would continue with the Hearts of Steel stuff, but I'm there for it. I am there for this Optimus.
That's not Optimus.
Yeah, it is.
No, that's bull crap prime.
I mean, if it was a Decepticon and they recolored him, he could be terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be close.
So, I'm tempted for somebody.
Here we have pictures of bull crap here, and a nice red bull. Yeah.
Yeah, he gives you wings.
Honestly, he should have a little Red Bull on the side. I'm gonna get me some stickers if I get this thing. Put some stickers on it.
I have to say, the creativity. I don't know
why.
I don't know why, but I like it. I love the complete out of left field. I mean, I was expecting Hearts of Steel Insecticons. I was expecting Shock. I still want to get Shockwave of some fashion. I was expecting another 2-pack with a recolor of Starscream and maybe a Bumblebee as Cliff Jumper. To get
I
the more
kinda-
Seekers.
Well, I kind of get what you're saying here with the engineering and everything, because I remember when they did Mickey Mouse.
Yeah,
the
the Disney label.
Yeah, and I really don't care for it, but the actual transformation and everything, I thought that's pretty slick. You got to give them props for that. Or when they did the shoe, the Nike shoe,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, this is interesting. It's not for me, but it's interesting.
I mean, it's amazing that they managed to have an Optimus that's a cab and a trailer combine into this one. I have to know how they did this because it's just so out of left field. I mean, we had no idea this even existed before now. If it was on a leak
This
list,
is definitely one of those ones you didn't know you wanted until you saw it, and you didn't even think you wanted it, but now some people did.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like, because I mean, I would have to imagine to some minute degree they have seen the there's that one third party company that's been doing like samurai themed.
Yeah, that's Iron Factory.
Yeah, Iron Factory for a while. I assume that there had to be a little bit of, we see people like this, let's do it ourselves. But the bull cart, it's just like, whoever thought of it up should get a raise, because it came out of nowhere and it makes so much sense.
It does. It does.
The figure itself, I don't like. Optimus I like a lot more than Starscream. We haven't gotten to Starscream yet, but Optimus I like a lot more than Starscream. But he's if I had to complain about anything about the first set of Timelines figures, with the Hearts of Steel, is that a lot of parts feel really thin, and it does look like that's going to continue. And the sets were expensive. And there's no way that this isn't also going to be expensive. And it sounds like they're doing the same two sets that they did with the first, or with the Hearts of Steel stuff, which is Optimus, Starscream,
I think they quoted this as a
and
$70.
Megatron Bumblebee.
I think they quoted it's a $70 set.
Which is what the other sets were, right?
Yeah.
They were 70.
No, they were $59.
Oh, well, the prices have gone up. So
No.
So I mean, yeah, and even those, and that felt hard to swallow. So I mean, the box is nice and ornate and everything. I thought that maybe they were bringing back the year of the Transformers.
Year of the dragon, goat, and
so I mean that they're continuing that they're continuing the timelines idea. Yeah, the timelines idea in the toy line is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Starscream is so bad.
Starscream is. It looks like they looked at that third-party figure from a couple years ago that made Starscream into a Falcon.
I have that one.
And kind of try, because I don't know if this is I haven't had a chance to look at it with any depth. There's got to be some of Air Razor in here somewhere. I don't know how much, but it seems like it's kind of has to be.
I think it heavily borrows a lot of the transformation scheme of Air Razor. It's just
parts for the same idea.
Yeah, I don't like, maybe the shins are the closest thing to a one-to-one with Air Razor's mold, but like almost the entire mold is new tooling. So it's hard to call it a remold. It's really like a
it's basically
like I don't know, like a recast or something. What do we call it at this point?
The term that we've been using on RFC is shared engineering. It's like it's like when you had Smokescreen from G2 Dreadwing and Energon Starscream. They were not one was not a remold of the other, obviously, but it was the exact same toy, so it's shared engineering. So that's something we've talked about, how our terminology in the fandom is not updated to be more precise. Some of this stuff is like, how do you even classify it in the first place?
I mean,
Of the two, Starscream is the weakest.
to me,
Starscream
this like shared engineering makes better sense. There's not a retool of engineering. Like they do that, but it seems like they're doing more shared engineering now with some of this stuff. Like the Optimus, I have no idea how that thing transforms. This thing here is pretty simple when you look at it.
Yeah, you can just about see where everything goes. I mean,
Well,
it
I mean,
looked,
you can kind of see it in the
Yeah.
Optimus too.
yeah.
The cart part of the bull and cart is doing a lot of hiding of
The
the
hiding.
robot mood. I
I
think. Yeah.
almost wonder if, like, I don't know, turns inside out kind of thing. Is what I'm thinking on that one.
The prime is kind of a shell former.
Yeah.
Where everything just kind of crumples up and goes into the back, and then the panel.
Yeah, because that shield is covering a lot as well of the parts inside. Starscream is the weaker of the two because it's, I don't know, it's just, it feels a little like, well, he flies, he needs to be a bird, so we'll make him a bird, but it's a very basic looking.
You guys know what this reminds me of? Reminds me of an old converter's toy I actually have.
Yeah,
It looks
blue one.
The blue one. I have that one.
blue one.
I'm using it as a fill-in for Deathsaurus, but it
Yeah.
really looks a lot like that. Now,
You know, I think
if
I
they-
would like that more if it was in those green peacock colors.
I mean, to be honest, with the way this set is, this kind of appeals to me and my wackiness. I would be with the guy, because you guys know me, I customize. I would take that Optimus and make it green pixelated so it fits in with the Oregon Trail. And this in here, I'd definitely do the converters thing. I definitely would. Give it the gold and silver and the blue. It would look amazing.
Well, maybe that's the repaint. We'll get Game Series Oregon Trail Optimus Prime.
Oh my gosh, Gamer Edition. Gamer
Please.
Edition.
Yeah, that's
Hasbro's
this
listening.
team-
Somebody's listening. Tell them that, please.
This
It'd
team,
be hilarious.
I
I don't
would
think it'll happen, but
I would expect from this team that we've gotten some deep cuts like, DevCon from that blur that works so well. Gamer Edition Optimus Prime in the Oregon Trail colors, I think would absolutely make people's brains just break.
I can maybe actually see that as something more like akin to like a SDCC sort of thing. But
I mean, honestly,
yeah, it's an interesting. I'm interested to see what Megatron and Bumblebee will be. It's kind of sucks that not having that idea off the bat or off the rip with these two. And hopefully they reveal them before these are up for. Actually, are these already up for pre-order? I'm not sure. But hopefully before.
I think those are. I believe they are.
So hopefully,
No.
because that means you have to make
I
a
would take
decision
Hasbro.
now on a full set. And we have no idea what Optimus or what Megatron and Bumblebee will end up looking like in this set.
Yeah, I'm at
Pretty easy
Hasbro Pulse.
decision for me.
Yeah, I'm at Hasbro Pulse right now. They've got up 3 things that we're probably going to be talking about later. But not these as of yet.
Because I think they said at the. Did they say New York Toy? Maybe the Toy Fair at the start of the year. I think is where they said they're going to reveal Megatron and Bumblebee. So maybe they'll reveal those around the time that these are going up for pre-orders, and you'll be able to make that decision on whether or not you want to get these to have the full set by then. Because we knew where when they did Hearts of Steel, when they said they were going to do Megatron and Bumblebee, we knew what they were going to do, right?
Right.
Well, if you read the comic and you saw some of the concept or art they put in the comic, then you kind of had a, an idea, like you said, yeah. I would have rather have seen continue with Hearts of Steel,
Oh yeah,
kind of, but
Well,
I
you
just
guys brought up
really
comics.
wanted the Ironclad. I
Yeah,
wanted the Ironclad
I mean,
shockwave so bad, but
and we're talking about comic book things also. I mean, a lot of people wanted a lot of like the DJD and stuff like that. It's cool if they're doing more comic stuff. Like, okay, we're giving us the new Optimus Prime from, what is it? I can't remember the name of the comic. You probably remember what it is.
Skybound.
it's
Skybound, yeah.
Skybound, the
The one where
Energon
they
universe.
ripped his arm off and gave him Megatron's arm. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think this is the laziest thing I've ever seen because it really looks
What
like just the '86 Prime with the arm off the '86 Megatron slapped on it. That's really what it looks like to me.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the arm is completely new because it has a transform and integrate into the 86. I think the biggest thing people pointed out that the Megatron arm has sort of damage and stuff on it, and kind of the grittiness that the Skybound comic has, and then the rest of the 86 mold is just pristine.
Yeah.
Which
the
makes
thing
and they would have liked to
sense.
see a little bit of remolding, maybe to make it a little grittier.
But it's $90 and no trailer and no accessories. It's like, there's someone I saw on Twitter brought this up. I would give credit if I could remember who. There is a fourth party of the 86 Optimus that includes all the stuff, a trailer, a Megatron arm, a better cannon for 86 Megatron if you wanted to use it, for like $70.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of these different third parties, and then you got people out there doing 3D printing of this stuff too. This just doesn't merit $90 to me. This is like a $50
No, it does not.
toy to me. This should just
Yeah,
be
and I'm
$50,
surprised,
and that's it.
because they've released the Commander cab without the trailer for a reduced price before, have they not?
In Masterpiece, yeah.
So they haven't done it with the 86 though.
No, and
Because it just seems like wild to sell it at a Commander price point without the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people I know, like, they really wanted it, but when they saw what the price was or what you're getting versus what you lost on the Commander, it's like, I mean, that's what people were posting links to this fourth party version, is because you get everything. Again, if you go play with it on a regular basis, take that into account. But if you just want this to sit on your shelf and represent that universe, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer because it's like Hasbro is like, that Nemesis Prime was supposed to be what, $74.99, and then it was $89.99.
Or did it get bumped up that much? I thought it just went up to 80.
Well, I mean,
I think it's
the state of things is what's caused that. But we don't really want to get into.
I mean, I imagine that the people who got the Void Rivals Jetfire are probably going to be the ones most interested in getting this, because I think this is a Pulse exclusive, right? I don't think it's a mass retail release.
No, it's Pulse exclusive, and right now it's premium only. It won't open up for general customers, from what I've read, for about a month.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So it's going to be about a month before it opens up, and it's $89.99.
Just for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, I hate to say it looks like a kit bash to me.
Yeah, and I'll admit, I wasn't going to order the Nemesis Prime. I kind of did on super impulse because these normally sell out extremely quickly. And I was thinking, if I need to pick up uh, the upcoming onslaught that completes the Ocular Max car robots ruination
Hmm.
or Baldigus, that might not be a bad thing to have in my in my arsenal if I have to go that route to try to pick one up. But I've also heard on this Nemesis Prime, at least one reported thing, the mini cons are breaking when you try to transform it.
Yeah,
Yep.
it seems to be at least one minicon in particular, which was funny because it was kind of pointed out that the official artwork, or the not official artwork, the official photos of them did not transform the chest of the Micron or the Minicon. 'Cause I can't remember which one it was. It's not Sonar is the one that looks like the bomber.
Yeah,
Isn't
Can't
it
he's
the
like
one
remember.
that looks like
the
the?
V wing,
Yeah.
kinda.
Yeah, it's the one that looks like the I think that's supposed to be more like the Concorde. Um,
Yeah, the Concorde one.
and if anyone has familiarity, like the um, tail fin lifts up and then flips over onto his chest. But
If it
the
doesn't
official
fall off,
picture, what's that?
if it doesn't fall off first.
Yeah,
Of the
well,
original,
on the
tail can always
original,
fall off.
yeah. This one falls off too. It falls off.
Oh, then it is like the original.
It falls off permanently.
Oh, then it's even one step further than the original.
So yeah, that kind of sucks. Like, I don't know why it's not just like friction hinged. Why it was designed the way
Well,
it
the
was.
original was friction hinged and it kept popping off. So maybe they thought that this
Yeah,
would be better, and it breaks.
yeah. I mean, it's so thin plastic. Like it seemed like an inevitability at some point.
Well,
Yeah,
it does make me wonder if they'll ever truly figure out how to do clear plastic,
I
because they still
don't
haven't
think
got it.
they ever will because
Clear plastic's a poison, and I know like a lot of guys out there, they love the clear windows on their cars and stuff like that. But I mean, I started off on the internet with my screen name being Sideburn 2, and I can't tell you the horror stories of having those RID car brothers being made out of like 40 to 90% clear plastic. They all fall apart. They break.
See, I think it has to do with the sections too, because if you look at vintage G1s, you know, Sideswipe, Prowl, Blue Streak, all those, they had clear windows. Now, the only time that they ever really had problems was where they had thin plastic.
Like
Like
your
your
Prowls and stuff.
Jazz right there at the windshield was a common breakage, but that was because one, that was a point in which you were during transformation you were moving, and then the other thing, which was a really bad poor design, is that when he's in robot mode, that whole roof stuck out. So if you grabbed him, it pinched at that point and broke.
hmm
So I mean, it was just what I guess what I'm saying is that they did clear plastic all the way back then. They don't have problems, but now everything's having problems. I mean, you got a better chance of finding a G1 clear window, Autobot unbroken than you do a car brother from RID.
hmm
That's sad.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very true. But speaking of clear plastic windows and such, this should make you pretty happy, Megamus.
Oh, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on.
Honestly, looking at the way the engineering is on this, do you guys remember the Transformers Prime Viacon?
Yeah.
This apparently has a very similar transformation where the entire thing, like the whole top of the car,
Love it.
ends up on the back of his legs.
I so can't wait for this.
Which, if they kept up this type of engineering, personally, I don't think there'd be any real big issues because there's not a whole lot of stress on the clear plastic on those. Because even
Well,
till
it looks like the
today,
clear
I've never
plastics
seen
are
it.
inset into not clear plastic. Like you can kind of see how there's red behind
Right.
that clear blue.
Yeah.
There's a frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, from what I've gathered, though, it looks like the engineering is very similar, which I think is cool. I'm glad they're doing that. I'm trying
Also,
to,
Viacon. That Viacon was like the highlight of that entire line.
that Viacom
For
was,
what was otherwise a rather disappointing line because a lot of the the oil prices at the time and the great downsizing of the time period.
yeah, because if you check out the design here, you can see where some of the clear plastic stuff ends up on the back of his legs, primarily toward the heels. But I mean, I think it is fantastic. It just looks great to me. But then again, I like the
Biggest
engineering.
problem I see right now is how they're going to do gap fillers and still get it to transform.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one thing. That's the one thing because Wind Charger's always been one of my low key kind of favorite.
My
know,
favorite.
one of my favorites. But I don't like those legs. The inside of those lower legs. I just do not like that because it's. I mean, again, it's the price point is. I mean, da 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 da. But it's just it's very ugly.
Yeah, but the transformation, unless they had something to cover it.
Yeah,
there's no
I mean,
way.
I get it, but I'm just saying from an aesthetic standpoint, that's something I would probably like to get some third party fillers for. Even
Well,
if,
right. Like I said, though, I don't know how they would do it and still keep the transformation unless it was just
well, I
a
mean,
cover.
you could always maybe have it like, for example, there are gap fillers for robot mode, but maybe they're painted on the other side. So when you take them off, they could be some shields or some. They look like little. Because I mentioned this on RFC about how I wish the magnetism effect was handheld, like he was projecting the magnetic fields from his hands. So maybe they could do something where one side is the color to cover the holes, and the other side you could take them off and attach them to the car, like maybe in the front, like he's pushing the magnetic force forward. Maybe he could hand hold them, like think like Rhinox's Gatling guns, but they look like he's projecting. I don't know, something along those lines.
I see what
I
you're
think they'll
getting
come
at.
up with something.
I'm sure they will. I mean, a lot of the third-party stuff, things like that, even the 3D printing guys, they always come up with something interesting. That's for sure for these. And then we've got our first, I guess, really, really good looks at yet another Seeker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eh.
Now, I did find a place that had this at the regular Voyager price point of $34.97. I did pre-order it because I am not switching out all of my Earthrise Seekers for this new one. I do want to see how the mold looks, and if I like it, I may just sell the Thundercracker and wait and pick up like Sunstorm, Acid Storm, all the ones they didn't do in that Earthrise, just to complete the Seeker set, because I don't think they're going to be too jarring next to each other in my head anyway. I'll have to wait and see how they look on the shelf.
I mean, I don't know. It looks very animation accurate.
Yeah, I
more
mean,
than it
I think it
does
looks
toy.
great.
It looks
yeah,
great.
it does. It's just that new $43 Voyager price point. When you look at a bare minimum of Starscream, Skywarp, Thundercracker, Thrust, Dirge, Ramjet,
Yeah.
then you get into Nacelle, Sunstorm, Acid Storm, the Rainmakers, unless you count Acid Storm as a Rainmaker. It depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, you've been asked to buy all of these twice now in the last 6 years. you've bought multiple full sets of Seekers, and now it's like,
Yeah.
hey, guess what?
And just yesterday, I
Another
saw
full
the
set of Seekers.
Not
and
unless you're
just
one of those
yesterday.
guys that had the classics molds on top of it.
Yeah. But yet, just yesterday, I found the Ramjet reissue at Ross for $20.
Of course.
I
That's the
mean,
problem I see with all this. All right. The problem I see with all this is that you get something new in, and then the price of the old ones drops. So if you try and keep up with the Joneses and want to get the best that there is, you lose money by getting rid of the old ones because they're not worth anything.
Yep.
And that sucks. If they would make them if they would do something to where the old one was still, you wanted it, it would help. But when you do this, it's an exact same figure, better. You don't want the old one anymore.
Yeah, but okay, that's just like when we got Siege Optimus. We thought that is a really good-looking Optimus. It's a little stylized, but it was a really good Optimus.
Mhm.
Earthrise was already in production when the Siege came out.
Sure.
Less than a year later was a new, even better-looking Optimus. This is the problem. Unless you jump ahead in a time machine, buy all the stuff, and then bring it back, this is what you're looking at constantly now. Getting the better version. And I'll admit, I've still got all my classics. Because I like that classics mold.
That classics mold
But
to me was
this does
solid.
look more animated. And I'm not slavish to the animation style, because in some cases, like on Inferno, it looks too plain. It's like I got the Make Toys Inferno and Grapple because it was those colors, but there was enough sculpting and detail that it didn't look so flat.
Yeah.
But this looks great, but I do not want to swap out 6 times over plus.
Yep.
I mean, that was kind of that's been my, complaint for the last, since Combiner Wars, it's just the constant recycle of the same characters. And we seem to have massively accelerated recently. And, I mean, I think, I think a lot of people are going to actually finally meet I don't need to do this again with the 86 stuff, because the 86 stuff is, getting it very right. If you missed out, if you didn't have the money to spend on masterpiece figures, I think the 86 stuff has hit the proper niche for that. And I think a lot of people are going to will probably end up being at the end of their road for, who's gonna buy a new. How do you make this mold? Unless this mold has a lot of problems that we just can't see from looking at it, how are you gonna make a better Seeker mold at this point?
Yeah, it's like 86 Optimus. I want that to be the last 86 Optimus, other than the masterpiece, the new one coming out here soon, the mainline. That should be the last Optimus anyone needs to buy.
Yeah.
Because I don't really think nothing's going to be better than that I can possibly imagine. Now, I've said that before. But
when there's
case,
20 other Optimus Primes that could use new figures, right?
I mean,
we need Fatimus, we need Energon Prime. I mean, come on, guys.
No, we don't.
Yeah, I mean, in my case, dealing with Laser Prime, because I love Laser Prime, love the original toy. That newer version that came out was amazing. I don't see how they can improve on that, because I mean, even when they redid it,
they could improve the shoulders,
maybe a little bit, but to be honest,
beyond that,
there's not much. That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you push something to a whole new level? Like, we talk about how big characters are on the shelf, like scale wise, because some people weren't happy with how Siege Megatron was shorter than 86 Megatron until we finally got the 86 Megatron. They're pretty much on scale, but some people don't like the 86 because all he doesn't turn into a pew pew gun, you know? And I'm like, how do you make people happy with this?
You can't. All
In
you
that
can do.
particular case, you definitely can.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They gave us 86 Megatron in robot mode. Looks like 86 Megatron. From the front, from the sides, he is as close as you are going to get.
Mhm.
And then they made a tank from that visual representation as best they could. Because they knew he's going to be in robot mode 90% of the time for most people. People complaining that he's not a gun are looking for something to complain about. Because they said over a decade ago, y'all remember Safety Megatron?
Mhm.
I wish Safety Megatron existed. It's so great.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
I want it so bad.
Even a couple of years after they revealed the Safety Megatron colors, even that wouldn't pass anymore. And that was as G2 in color scheme as you could possibly get, other than glowing in the dark.
Mhm.
So no one's ever going to be happy. And there's going to be people that look at this Seeker and it's going to be, they'll find fault or whatever. I don't want to spend $42 on a new Seeker mold, minimum of 6 times over. The show accuracy is not that important to me.
I mean, it's kind of like, you guys remember when the first Masterpiece Starscream came out? Colors were not right, but
It was real world, yeah.
yeah, it was real world, which was okay. That was cool because they were trying to, appeal
Yeah,
to
Masterpiece
people like
aesthetic
Jets.
at the time was Masterpiece
cha-
aesthetic at the time was trying to be like realistic vehicles that turn into
Right.
the characters.
But then they came out with the following one after that, which they changed the engineering. They got rid of those weird wings that would just attach to the side. And
The scabbards.
Yeah, the scabbards. And then you got people who are like, okay, they spent all this money on these Masterpiece, and then here we are years later where they're literally doing what we call mini Masterpiece, because that's basically what these are now at this point. And it's like people that wanted larger figures to put on their shelf, they're out. They have to get like third party really, unless they do the last Masterpiece. But when are they ever going to do another Masterpiece Seeker? I don't see them ever doing that.
And there are always it's hard to, I'm sure it's, I mean, they're doing another Optimus, right? We're on Optimus 5.0. But there is always going to be new people coming in to buy things. And I think for them, this stuff like the Seekers coming out again, is kind of like a prime opportunity for them to pick up at least the main 3 Seekers, because there's going to at least be an 86 Skywarp and Starscream.
Well,
those are inevitable, and
there's
going to be a Starscream Coronation set.
There'll have to be a Thrust at least too, because Thrust was in the movie like plain as day during one of the biggest scenes.
I think those, it's going to give everyone the opportunity to get those again, especially a lot of the younger collectors. Like I'm on a few collector Discords that do have younger collectors that they weren't collecting. They weren't old enough to collect heavily when the Siege ones were coming out, right? So, or the Earthrise ones were coming out. So there's plenty of people to pick these up, but it does, when we've all been doing this for so long. I mean, even me, I've been doing this since 2001, and even really before that. But I was buying them as toys to play with when I was, in the Beast Wars era. But a few of those have survived into my collection. But we just keep getting we just see it as a well-worn tire at this point with some of these characters.
I mean, that's kind of how I see it. Like to me, does scale even really matter to you guys anymore? when it comes to any of this stuff.
It never did to me because when I was growing up, I mean, I was born in 1970. So I was there in 84 when all this hit. And I was there when you had Optimus and you had Blaster. And Blaster was twice the size of Optimus. Scale has never mattered. It matters to me more now because some characters it's like Studio Series Dinobots. They all need to be pretty much around the same height except for Swoop, a little bit shorter. That's fine. Megatron and Optimus, there was that third-party Magic Square Optimus. A Megatron, the Romulus that looked great, but he was a hedge too short because he was made to go with Siege Optimus, not the new 86 Commander. So some characters I need to have kind of in scale, so when they're on the shelf together, it looks right, and my OCD isn't bugged. But for anything else that's not scaling properly, that's why you got risers.
That makes sense. Megamus, how do you feel about scale?
Kind of the same way Don does. I mean, I remember when they first came out and being a little bummed that, like he said, Blaster, was so much taller than Prime and Megatron.
But we didn't know then what scale meant.
No, I'm just saying, literally, when you put them on there, I'm looking at them and they just never really looked right, but we accepted it. It really didn't start bugging me. One of the things I really like is mini-bots. And when we got that awful sea spray, that was that huge monstrosity.
Yeah, the hunt for the hunt for the Decepticons version.
Yes,
Okay.
And I'm like, that bugs me.
Well, now did Power Glide in the Ultra class?
I hated that too.
Okay.
Yes, they bugged me. I hated both of them. And then what did we get? We got the Power Glide little itty bitty piece of garbage. That was like legend scale.
That came with Superion.
Poor class.
It was horrible. No, there was another one because they repainted it blue.
Yeah, the Viper.
The
Cobra Viper.
Yeah, that one was just horrible. So some of that stuff, yes. If they was to come out with, I got them sitting on the desk here. If they came out with a Frumble that was as tall as Soundwave, I would have issues. But they're both guys, so shouldn't they be the same size? Well, no. They're both robots, but they're not the same size. So yeah, there has to be some scale. I do not want, and that's the other thing. I didn't like Devastator when he first came out. He had 6 robots, and he wasn't much bigger than like Blaster. If you're going to give me combiners, I want them to be big. I want them to be, look like 6 robots or 5 robots. And I think the new ones that they're making, like Superion, they're doing a good job. They have to cut corners. I mean, you've got this exoskeleton thing going on and all that, which don't get me started. It's fine. It works. You put them together and he looks fine. In vehicle mode, he's got this big hemorrhoid coming off the back of his jet. But other than that,
it's a scramjet. It's a booster.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Space
it's a
jet mode.
That's what it is. But so yeah, I think there needs to be some scale. Like I said, if you're going to make a leader class, don't make a mini bot a leader class. And they do. It works like the Seekers, and it helps that they use a lot of the same designing, but they're all about the same size. Or they actually are all the same
size. So what about Warpath?
They should be.
How'd you feel about Warpath? Because he came out as deluxe.
The newest one that they came out with, I don't like the shield thing, and I think he's a little big. But he's still small enough that I'm okay with it.
So, Cyber, what do you think about scale?
It kind of really depends on if we're talking characters, I mean, I obviously always want characters to scale correctly with each other within reason. Obviously, you can't have certain characters scale with everything. Like you'll never have an N scale Unicron. Um, but I want things. Yeah, I want the large majority of them to scale relatively. Um, I think the scale classes as a sort of a long lasting gimmick, or not really gimmick, but just classification scheme for this series. To me, I think that could easily change to something a little more approachable. Maybe not necessarily from a price point perspective, but um, I think I was kind of floated the idea when we're talking about what we might talk about tonight, but I was thinking the other day about with prices going up, with uh, let's be honest, no kid what kid is getting a $30 deluxe from mom and dad when they're at Walmart. I remember it was pulling teeth getting a $10 toy when I was a kid, and I don't think parents have changed.
No.
So that's kind of driven. I feel like that's kind of really what's driven the whole entire line into your studio series being your main line now, which was a collector's focused movie line, and now it's the main line for the entire brand. And it's at this point, do the scale classes make a whole lot of sense? Deluxes to me existed as a perfect price point. Deluxes and core class existed as the perfect price points to have your parents say yes when you were in the toy aisle.
It was
Um,
entry level.
Yeah, and then your Voyagers and your Leaders, those were the holiday, those were the birthday gifts, right? Those are the ones that you were less likely to get. You bought them with your birthday money and stuff like that. But I don't think that dynamic really exists in the fandom anymore. I think most of the collector base is aged up. It's young, the young collectors or the teens and stuff like that. I feel like you don't have a whole lot of children begging their parents to buy them the toys in the toy aisle anymore. And I was thinking, would it make a whole lot more sense for Hasbro to sort of shallow out these size classes and make it to where there's a $50 size class and there's an $80 size class. And the $50 size class is kind of where our deluxes and our Voyagers were. And maybe a deluxe comes with two deluxes, or
I was just thinking that myself.
or a deluxe has a bunch of accessories to
Right.
sort of build out some of that extra stuff that we don't get right now with the size classes, because they're not going to include them in a deluxe figure. But if the price point, if they were aiming for a $50 price point, they could add accessories to a deluxe to make it worth $50.
Right, but also, like, if you're like me and I like mini bots,
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind picking up a 2-pack for $50, as opposed to trying to track down two $25 to $30 figures.
Exactly.
Sure,
Or maybe just
and you can make a much more. Yeah, you can make a much more uniform display on the shelf too. It's like, here's your two price points: your sort of small guys price point and your big guys price point. And the Titans the Titans would stay the Titans. They kind of make sense how they're doing those, but but with the sort of the fall of the impulse by deluxe.
Correct.
Deluxe and core class, does it make sense to have these 4 size classes when they could sort of, I think, make an even better collector's focused line by reducing it down and then having figures with more accessories, or your Voyagers wouldn't have more accessories, but they would still be in the same price point and stuff like that. Kind of just make it a more approachable and a more shallow sort of overall package. But I think making it make a whole lot more sense on store shelves, instead of having to chase around 4 different assortments.
Yeah, but
It gets
you brought
kind
up
of
a good point. It's different. We're not talking about scale. We're talking about price point, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's a good topic.
Mhm.
But it makes me wonder. I would like to know if we could ever find out what the sales were for like back in the 80s mini bots. And the reason I say that is because mini bots were priced at as low as $2.99.
Hmm.
And they were by the checkout. They were your impulse buys. Then you had GI Joe figures. GI Joe figures were right around $2.99, $3.99, and you found those close to the checkout line.
Mhm.
Then later on, we had Legends, and I think Legends were what $7.99, something like that, $6.99, and they were like
Yeah.
impulse. Did they really sell those? Were they a good market? And if so, if they weren't, then why do we even need that size class like you just said now? It's
I
Yeah.
just an
mean,
extra size class.
I'll
Which
be
at this point
honest.
they've killed off the core class, right? Like what
Well,
used to
that
be Legends.
they didn't sell very well.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like to me, because it makes me sad because I was always after the smaller figures. And I know, like, when it comes to kids, like, I even talked to some of the kids that grew up, when Michael Bay was like their first movies and stuff like that. They talked about getting small little Bumblebee, small little like the recolored Cliff Jumpers and like the little Megatrons and Optimuses that were tiny because they didn't have a whole lot of money. It was a good way for them to enter the whole thing. And some of them went out and bought the deluxe size after that because they loved the size. They liked the small stuff, but they also like, hey, I want to get a little bigger one to see how that's like. It was like, like a sample almost in a way.
Introduction.
But the problem is when they started increasing the prices on the core class stuff, that made a lot of people like, why am I giving almost deluxe price for a core class figure? And then a lot of
Yeah.
us, do you guys remember when deluxes were like $10.99? That was cheap for a deluxe. And
But let me
now
ask
we're
you,
like almost
if
quadruple
you had
now what they were.
if you had the option at the time
Hmm.
to buy that, the deluxe Bumblebee and the core class Spike, and then let's say they had a few extra accessories in there for a higher price package, would that have been more appealing than chasing down the very small deluxe size Bumblebee and chasing down that Spike figure and spending, $35 on them at the time, right?
Yeah.
And I think core class could come back in an environment where Hasbro started targeting a certain price point for a set that wasn't just a single figure, but like just a price point for a set that would make sense.
What this reminds me, like what you're talking about,
Yeah.
that reminds me of. I want to say I don't remember if it was a Walmart or a Target exclusive. I believe it was Dark of the Moon around that time. They had like a set of like 5 of the little Legend Cyberverse figures, all in one package as a gift set. And I want to say it was only like $25 or something, which wasn't bad. That's for 5 figures. And then later on, they did the same thing with Beast Hunters with the Abominus set for Target. Released the entire set that you can make the combiner, all of them together. I personally think if Hasbro decided to go make smaller figures like that again available, they should do like a box gift set of them.
Almost like a Jada set,
Right.
but
Like one
with
of the things that like a lot of kids got into the rescue bots, they did multi-pack rescue bots and they sold pretty well. So I don't understand why they just completely killed it off, other than the fact that they think anybody that's buying Transformers now are just us older guys, and that's it. Like a lot of us older guys are trying to get the younger crowd into it, and some of the younger crowd is trying to, if they grew up with the Michael Bay movies, they're trying to get their kids into it. Well, how can you get your kid into it whenever they have, what is the new stuff they have? Not that weird Grimlock that you can pull his arms off and all the stuff with the Scorponok and such that they have now.
Cyber World.
Cyber World stuff.
Yes,
That stuff's cool, right? But I saw on the shelf the other day, I saw the Megatron, and it's in G2 colors. I love the colors. I think it's amazing. You know what turned me off? $30 for that thing. And I'm like,
What? Okay, which?
the one that turns into the truck.
Okay, I have not.
Yeah.
Not the green Megatron.
It's $30.
I have not seen that's pre-order everywhere that I've seen it online, and I have not seen it in person.
Well, I saw it in person in Walmart, and it's about this tall. You know, about almost liter class size. But the thing is, it's a gimmick toy, so it's riddled with gimmicks. It's not going to be highly articulated. So all it is a larger piece of plastic, almost like you guys remember getting oversized knockoffs, right? That were bricks, and they weren't that great. They were cheap, but they weren't that great. Somebody cared. But now you got an oversized knockoff-y type of thing that you're trying to sell a kid for $30, and it's like, what parent is going to drop $30 on their kid for that? When the kid doesn't really have a reference, the parents kind of don't have a reference unless they're trying to watch the little 5-minute YouTube things they have, which are cool, but not every kid is reaching out to YouTube to watch this new show at all. Like, the problem we'll run into is, unfortunately, we are, and I know Protoman said this before in the past too, we are literally in a second generation of the Generation 2 slump right now. With pretty much everything. Like, we're getting these extremely expensive toys, but not a bunch of them. Like, just trickles. It's not like an entire line of stuff that we used to get. And
there's not much to drive.
There's not much to choose from.
The franchise right now either.
Right, and I think that honestly is what's kind of killing size classes, killing the fact that it's hard, like you were saying, trying to figure out, well, why don't they just do, price point per character or whatever, which makes better sense to me also.
It would make a whole lot of sense. I think the only reason the retailers are the reason that doesn't exist anymore, right?
Well, yeah.
It's a lot easier to.
They don't want the shelf space to be took up for nothing. Like, I don't know how many of you guys have walked into a Walmart or Target and seen a full display of nothing but Transformers, and it's full, not full of holes.
Yeah, they have that now for Stranger Things. That last season, they've created an entire half of a gondola, and a gondola is your average 4 to 8 sections, like you would see at a Walmart, for Stranger Things. So they are doing it for certain properties, and we have seen Transformer end caps. The my local Target now has Sideswipe, Wheeljack, Optimus, and Megatron on those Target exclusives. Those are out on an end display, but it's also shared with all that DC Sonic stuff that's out now.
That's the thing. It's a shared end cap. It's not a full end cap. Or if you go down the actual aisle where all the Transformers are, how much of that space is literally just empty?
That's probably a store by store basis. I used to have a Walmart that was really, really good. At always having really nice stock shelves in my current Walmart. It's not. It's the opposite.
Well, I mean, I've been to. There's 3 Walmarts pretty much in the same area that I'm at. Every one of them, all look identical. Same stuff, barely anything. I see a bunch of those walkie-talkies and nobody's buying. I see a bunch of whatever those, are they called swap
the Chachi
or
stuff?
something? The silly little push them together kind of thing. I'm like,
there were supposed to be
bot shots. Those were better.
I'm not seeing anything past wave 1 because I thought there were supposed to be multiple waves. I'm assuming that wave just did not. I mean, it obviously seems to have not sold well at all. So I assume that most of the other waves were canceled.
There's no reference to it. Kids don't care about it.
Well, I mean, Bot Shots was Bot Shots came out at a time that it capitalized on the Bakugan craze, and then later on there was the what were the ones that transformed into a bunch of different food items and stuff like that? I can't remember.
The tiny ones, the little bitty freaking things.
Yeah,
I can't remember what you're talking.
They kind of hit. They transformed into rubber ducks and all that different stuff.
Botbots.
Yeah, Bot-Bots.
Botbots.
How well did those sell, though?
They did really well until they went on this like massive hiatus because there was that the Netflix show that was in production, and then they weren't gonna. They like put the toy line on a hiatus because the Netflix show kept getting delayed, and then by the time it came back out, all the buzz around it was gone. Because there were like whole Facebook groups about trading bots and all that stuff, and completing bot collections. Because it was back in the last cycle of blind box craze. And we seem to be entering a new. I guess Blocky is sort of hitting the blind box craze now for Transformers, but.
Thank you.
But yeah, the Botbots was kind of during that last craze of that last cycle of the whole blind box craze. But yeah, I always the swap the ones the two that go together, which I had the Cheetor and Tigertron one. That one definitely just seems like a flopped attempt at trying to hit that craze again. And then I'll never understand all the tchotchke stuff. The walkie-talkies and the flying things and stuff like that. That stuff seems to always come out and fill up aisle space and then never go anywhere. And then the next movie that comes out, they'll repackage it all again.
Well, I just don't understand that. To me, that stuff should go to like dollar stores. That's like dollar store material type of toys. Kids would be more interested in that in a dollar store than they would going into Walmart, because I don't know, it's just to me, just the way everything's going with the price points and the scale classes and stuff like that, it's kind of all over the place now. It doesn't feel like it used to be like as cohesive it used to be, like
I think it in the overall discussion, I think it makes sense to maybe rework all that stuff, and I don't think they ever will, but to me it seems like it would make sense for at least things like the Studio Series stuff to maybe reconsider and rethink how those packages are done and make them because I think like Playmates does some sets with like you get like two bad guys in a set and stuff like that, like with the turtle stuff.
Well, Playmates themselves, they own their own factories. They're not outsourcing. That's why they're able to keep even reproducing a lot of the older toys that they had from the 80s, because they still have the molds.
I saw they're doing a bunch of Power Ranger stuff.
They are. They actually acquired the Power Rangers license. They've done a bunch of Power Rangers stuff. The new Megazord they did, the distribution isn't the best on it. It's not really meant for a collector. It's more kid-oriented. But to be honest, it's cool.
I mean, it looks like the stuff, like a lot of the stuff, a lot of it looks like the stuff that was on the on the shelves when I was buying, when I was interested in Power Rangers back in the day. Especially all the Rangers with the like flip up masks and stuff like that, and the really weird upper body proportions because of it.
Well, I mean, that's the ones they have now. Apparently, they are re-engineered and reworked from what was originally.
Oh yeah, they definitely look like they have more articulation and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing is, the price point. You guys notice the price point. Look at Ninja Turtles; they're still cheap. They're still dirt cheap, even in a crappy environment we're in right now. So, what's the reason for Hasbro's? Is because they don't have enough material to keep pushing it out, because they outsource every place
I
ever
think they
in
could.
manufacturing.
I just think they could make. I think they could just again. I think they could make the packages more enticing to where the price point doesn't really matter. And I think I think the big thing is just being stuck in the deluxe Voyager leader commander split.
Yeah. One thing Hasbro
And I
has
think they
said
could change some of that.
yeah. But one thing Hasbro has said is that these classes, they're not size classes, they're price points.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's why they're keeping this, is so that way there's a understanding of if it's classified as this figure, it'll be this price. That's why you get some deluxes like Bumblebee. That's a Both Bumblebees, animated in '86, are very, very small figures that are deluxes. But then you get larger deluxes like DevCon and a lot of your Studio Series movie figures that have a little more to them and are a little bit bigger in the same price point. So I think we all have to remember is just because it's deluxe doesn't mean it's going to be like, for example, this sea spray is technically a deluxe.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's the retro card Walmart exclusive, but this is technically a deluxe. But if you look at, I don't have anything. Well, hang on, I do right here. I just got this yesterday. Well, no, I don't have it here with me. I thought I did. I picked up the reissue of Run Amok
Mhm.
because I have the original two, but with the prices having going what they were, I wanted to get one to open and keep the others in the box. Just later on down the road. Just besides, my Run Amok, it looks like there's a little turning on it. I can't quite tell if it's me or the light or if it's actually that. So having a new one in the box, would be nice. But that's a somewhat more substantial figure than the Sea Spray, or
Yeah.
the same price.
Mhm.
So
Well, and that's where I'm just like if they targeted because with that sea spray, let's say it was a $50 set, but it came with sea spray, it came with like the mermaid, and it came with some accessories relevant to sea spray as a character. It would be a more enticing set than I'm buying a smaller thing at this smaller price point. And I just think that I feel like they could literally make the whole entire collecting um, sort of space for the 86 stuff or for the more collectors focused stuff into a shallower price class that are technically more expensive but seem more alluring, by including stuff that right now because you'll never get those, you'll never get human characters with the way the size classes work. But if they sort of changed it up and humans were now accessories to justify a higher price point, but a more focused price point, that sort of gives you that sort of collectible value. It
yeah,
could change the way you look at those price points.
the downside is you go back to what we were talking about earlier about pleasing enough people, and how many people would get upset that there were humans included in their Transformers. You got humans in my Transformers. You got Transformers in my humans. It's
I mean, I'm just saying,
I
I've
mean,
like,
I don't know if anybody knee-jerk reaction like that when MP10 came out and had Spike that goes in the cab. I don't think anybody cared about
well,
that.
again, I think it's
They didn't
also
get mad about
characters.
it. They were like, "Oh, that's cool. It comes with it."
Yeah,
well,
but
and I think
I
to
could care
Don's
about it.
point,
It's there.
some people would like, in my idea of how they could maybe solve rework some of this stuff to make it a little more alluring. Yeah, there definitely would people who'd be like, I would rather go back and spend $30 on sea spray than get all this extra stuff that I don't care about. For sure that sort of thing would happen. I'm just, spitball. I collect a lot of anime figures. I'll spend like $60 on a 5-inch figure, right? And it just comes with a bunch of accessories that are relevant to the character, right? And I always wondered, outside of Masterpiece, because Masterpiece does it, but it does it at a scale that's out of most people's pocket. But we see a lot of other lines that do it with things more relevant to the Walmart collector, that go into that line and they see a figure come with a bunch of accessories. And Transformers isn't one of those lines that does that. And I feel like it could be one of those lines that does a little more of it and makes and it kind of reduces some of the class confusion with the deluxes, Voyagers, Leaders, and stuff like that.
Yeah. The thing is, right now, with Hasbro being in such financial issues, that they're sort of sticking to what they know works and licensing out a lot more of their properties. But then you have to wonder about them doing other things like the current HasLab, but we'll leave that for another day.
Yeah, don't get me started on that mess.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's a topic for a different day when we're a little more.
How about a topic for next week? We can really rag on it then.
Yeah. Well, not rag. We can give it a critical opinion.
Okay. I mean, our critical opinion, is the only one that really matters around here. But But,
so
I mean, I
with
see what you're getting at there with that idea. Like, I thought it was cool back when Beachcomber came out, and it came with the little parakeet, the little bird. Like, what was wrong with that? That was cool.
It made sense, and it made sense. And Beachcomber was like Cosmos and like Sea Spray. I mean, there's very little paint except for highlights. It's done with very little molding. As far as it wasn't a lot of mold parts, and they could afford to put a little something in there with what they saved that's appropriate to the character. Part of me wishes someone would do a third-party parrot as a target master for Beachcomber. Just, I don't know. Just he's called Paradise Parakeet.
I am designing 3D printed things. So.
And part of my I want a Sorry Sum deck. I want to, and that's probably the scale that Sorry would have maybe come in is gone. And it's like now at this point,
Yeah, we got Noah in the movie line. Why didn't we get a Sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I find it extremely strange. Like we're talking about like pack-in accessories. The only time I've seen any retail-ish pack-in accessory thing actually be okay. I know they're not the best toys that come out because some of the manufacturing flaws they had was the Red series. They had a lot of accessories.
Yeah, see, I want Red, but I want Red with transforming figures.
Right.
Okay. Here's the thing. I picked up this Thundercracker was the last one that I needed just for my Red collection. You look at this. See that?
Yeah.
That's just me. And then you compare. I did not pay retail for this. I got this for like $15 shipped. The only reason I got it was everywhere else was still wanting $30 to $40 because he's one of, if not the last Red figures to come out. This thing is a floppy mess. And it's posable, but the plastic doesn't feel good. The joints don't feel good. Nothing really super pegs on decently. And this is a $25 originally toy, supposed to be along the lines of Classified, Black Series, Marvel Legends. This sucks. I mean, this really does suck.
Well, how do you feel about accessories for it, though?
Oh, the accessories are fine, but it's the best accessories can't make up for a crap figure.
Right.
They can help hide it.
So
They can't.
say
That
he
they
came with, say the new 86 Thundercracker came out, just like that, with the accessories. How would you feel about the price then?
it would be more palatable, I think, because you're getting something other. You feel like you're. It's what we were talking about, like Hot Rod when 86 Hot Rod came out, Voyager Plus, you know, or Deluxe Plus, however you wanted to look at it, because he came with a lot of accessories, but he was basically a deluxe class figure, give or take, with a bunch of accessories, which boosted him up to the Voyager price point. Oh, I am so sorry. I apologize. I think if they included more accessories at this $42 price point for Voyagers, if Thundercracker came with the blast effects, he came with maybe some jet propulsion effects, little things like that, it would be a little better. But you're still looking at what people were calling the Deluxe Plus, whatever the case may be. I don't know. It would depend on. It's very character specific for what they get. I mean, just that new Thundercracker with blast effects would help, but I'm not sure it would make me, because those blast effects are going to be repeated ad nauseum. Look at Marvel Legends when they came out with Doctor Strange and they gave him those little swirly magic effects.
Mm-hmm.
They have used that same effect for dozens of figures. All they've done is change the color, and it's the exact same effect. That's what we've seen. That's what we've seen on the blast effect. So it's like, yeah, it's nice to get them, but that's all we're going to get on every incarnation of this mold now.
I mean, that's kind of what they've already been doing. They've been giving us blast effects
Exactly.
with everything. It's all recolors, but
Yeah.
what if he would have came with like a tiny little reflector? I know it's not 86 movie, but
no, but
it's a nod toward his character.
Yeah, I mean, having all this stuff being Blush compatible, thanks to MGO, a little MGO shout out there. But again, it would need to feel like it was actually something character specific and makes the price better versus them just shilling a bunch of stuff in there, hoping like, oh, we're getting so much more for our money, when it's just stuff. I don't know. It's one of those have to wait and see kind of things.
Yeah. Now, what do you think, Brett? You're shaking your head about it.
Most of that stuff sits in my box after I open the figure.
Yeah.
Most of that crap. I'd rather have it cheaper.
Yeah. Well, that's why
I don't need the blast effects. I don't use them. I don't need the little reflector or whatever. I don't need any of that stuff.
You just want a good figure cheaper than what they're selling it for.
Yes.
Now, I guess that's kind of why I like Classified. It's one of the few lines that I actually feel like I'm getting my $24.99 worth, or whatever the case may be. That's why I buy very few Marvel Legends, because I don't feel like I'm getting, and besides most of my characters are C and D listers anyway, I'm still pulling for Jack of Hearts. So, that's me. And don't even talk about Black Series, But yeah, that's my fault. Is it needs to be character specific and feels like they're trying to give us more in that price point than just throwing in a bunch of crap to make it look that way.
Right.
Now, I might be in the minority here, but I would rather have a nice stand with my figure than any of those accessories.
If it's character specific, like for the Seekers.
Honestly, if you gave me every Transformer that came out in that line, and they either connected or they had their name on it, I'd be happy with it.
Yeah, like a dynamic stand too, to let it do a little like.
If it had a jet mode or whatever.
Yeah, I definitely
on it. Doesn't have to have it. Whatever. To me, I would rather have something like that then your little laser effects or your little add-ons. I mean, the parrot was nice for Beachcomber, but wasn't necessary. Stuff like that. I'd rather have a nice little stand with his name on it. Something that went back to, remember the old 25th anniversary Joes.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. Simple stand, had their name on it. Simple. Mass produce them. I don't care.
Yeah, I think that's actually a lost art at this point, unless it's like a HasLab or something like that. I mean, Joe even does the classifieds even come with stands?
No, I don't
That's
believe so.
that's
The
that's
last ones
kind of a
I
crying
thought.
shame then, because I haven't ever had any classified figures, so I don't know. I messed with them, played with them before, but I didn't know if they even actually had stands for them. Because to me, since it's hard for them to produce vehicles because of their scale, why not throw in stands? I mean, that does make a lot better
Yeah.
sense. I mean,
Well,
it keeps it
those
more
are the type
G.I.
of
Joe
things
with the
where
stand.
those are the type of things where I think if they increase the value by increasing the value, you would get a more expensive product on Hasbro's part that people would feel better about buying. And I think at some point that line is going to be across where they have to increase the value of what you're getting, or people are going to, people eventually sort of hit. There's always a line where people will not cross it. It's going to get to a point where it doesn't make sense to buy them anymore, and at that point, they're going to have to change up what makes it valuable to make it worth the value. And we've obviously not hit that yet. People still seem to be, very willing to buy things at the price that they're at. But, I feel like at some point, more value will need to be added um, to make up for, the sort of the inevitable of these things aren't really being made for. These things are being made to be collected at this point, and not really being made to be toys in a toy aisle.
And I think that's
And really, that's everything in the toy aisle at this point. Like, and this goes beyond Transformers. Like, everyone's kind of been having to do that. The toy aisle is frequented by guys that look like me more often than it is kids.
No, you're absolutely right about that. Like I get sad when I look at Hot Wheels now, because I'm like, Hot Wheels used to have kind of cool stuff. Now it's all weird. I gravitate more toward the Matchbox, because Matchbox looks more like actual cars you'd see on the road. And I'm like, who are they really appealing to? Because I don't see kids flocking to Hot Wheels like they used to. 'Cause
Really
most of
young
the time
kids,
it's
maybe like.
old guys like me. I'm looking for that chase so I can turn around and sell it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like my nephew is starting to get. He's at the age where he likes to play with cars, or he's getting to that age. I can't buy him a Hot Wheels just yet. He's a little too young, but I feel like I don't know, like car culture in general is not as much of a thing as it used to be. So I think a lot of that has sort of driven like the disinterest in cars as kids get older.
I mean, I think that's kind of going hand in hand with everything. Like, we talked about.
I mean, because my dad used to go out into the driveway and work on his car, right? And so I was out there playing with Hot Wheels.
Well, I mean,
But I feel like that's a lot less common with how
right.
how little car culture, how car culture has changed
And I think
in the
that's
last
overall
30 years.
everything, though. Because the other day I was working at the shop, and I mentioned, I buy Lego sets to just build whatever the heck I want to build out of them. And some people look at me like, oh, that's blasphemy. You're supposed to build what it's supposed to be, and that's it. And I'm like, then why not just buy the real thing? Or buy a model kit? Like, I don't get it. It doesn't, click in my brain when you have a ton of bricks that you can make anything you want to out of, but yet you only make the one thing, stick it on the shelf. What's the difference between that and buying a statue?
Do you remember when Legos on the box used to have alternate forms?
Yes.
Like
And
every single Lego
loved
set, yeah.
that.
They all used to have that. It never showed you how to build it, but it showed it. Then you had to try and make it.
Did
Yeah, I
you know
remember
there's-
that with Bionicles.
Did you know there's a website that's actually done that? I looked up some of the old space sets that I have. There's a website. I can't remember exactly where it's which one it is, but they actually did alternative Lego set builds that were on the backs of the boxes, but they actually have instructions for them. Somebody literally built it, made the instructions, created the instructions, and uploaded this to the website. That's how you can make it, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Because to me, I think that's the problem right now. I think a lot of us are actually kind of having with Transformers. Does it feel fun, or does it just feel like, oh, I bought another one of that same character again? You know, like the fun, I think, has kind of been pulled away from all of this now. It's like, oh, if you don't have this much money, you can't have fun. They put a price on it to the point that nobody can really afford to let their kid have fun. And then it's us adults, when we buy it, I'm sure all of us have went out, bought a figure within about, got it home, took it out of the package, started messing with it, and then almost had instant buyer's remorse. I think we've all had that happen to us, haven't we? Like, you got the figure home, you started playing with it, and you're like, why did I give that much for this thing? So, I mean, Don, I know that's happened to you, hasn't it? A couple
Oh
times?
yeah, it's like like I said, I bought that Nemesis Prime. It was it was in stock. It's a convention exclusive, and we had talked about on RFC about it was way too expensive when it was originally priced at 74 or 79. But I was there, it was in stock, and I thought if I don't get it now, I might need it later on as if I need to pick up that onslaught on just as hedging my but I regret buying it now after seeing that the mini cons are breaking. So, and I can't cancel the order, and if I return it, I have to pay shipping.
No.
So, it was a knee jerk reaction that I wish I hadn't done, but I can't undo it. So, we'll have to wait and see, what happens.
So,
Do you
Brett,
remember
I
the
was about to ask
Metroplex,
you. Yeah.
the big Metroplex? I can't remember what
Thrilling
was that?
30?
Huh?
The Thrilling 30 Metroplex?
What started the big Titan
Yeah.
class?
Thrilling 30
Yeah,
first.
Thrilling
Yeah,
30
Titan
Metroplex. Yeah.
Metroplex.
One that goes for like $300-$400 or whatever and all that.
Yeah,
crap.
yeah. Well, there was three
Yeah,
versions
that
of
guy?
Metroplex.
The very first one. The
Yeah.
very first.
Yeah, there's three versions of that Metroplex. There's a San
Yeah.
Diego, there's
Now,
the
this
regular
was just
release.
one from the store.
Yeah,
I took it home. The arm's sitting on top of it because it comes disassembled.
Yeah.
I put it together. I said, "This is the biggest piece of crap," and I took it back to the store.
yep. I wish I
$300 toy I could have made money on,
yeah.
but
Well,
I thought it was a big piece of crap.
I didn't think it looked very good. I went with Make Toys Utopia that I thought looked a lot better. It was a little more expensive, but it was still a better looking Metroplex to me. But I did buy the Fortress Maximus. I wish I'd taken it back.
Yeah.
The
Now, the
Fortress Maximus
funny thing is I did buy the Fort Max, and I thought it was okay. But for some reason, that Metroplex, and like I said, I could have kept and made money on it. Nope, took it right back to the store.
but
I'm really surprised they haven't done a new Metro. I mean, because honest, that Metroplex was supposed to be the Fall of Cybertron Metroplex, right? Like at the time the video game came out,
Yeah.
that's what they based it on. I'm surprised they haven't done a new Metroplex. Even if it was just reusing that mold and changing it like they did with Fort Max, but I'm really surprised they haven't because of all of the Titans, it's It's not actually filling the G1 role. It was always, that War for Cybertron Metroplex
I mean, even the
or
Energon
Fall of
one that they
Cybertron.
came out with didn't really fill that role either, because I've heard a lot of people hated that because it was almost inferior to even having the original because it was slightly bigger. Like, it wasn't even that great.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it was quite well. I don't know. The original was big, but I mean,
Yeah, but this one
it definitely
wasn't
was.
that
It definitely
much
wasn't
bigger.
Titan class.
Yeah, this one really wasn't even that much bigger, though. It was classified as a Titan, but a lot of people had ended up getting it in hands like, I could have just spent the money on the original, it would have been better. The build quality was better and everything. I heard just not good stories about that one. So, Cyber, what toy did you buy that you returned because, or not even returned, or just had buyer's remorse pretty much almost instantaneously about?
HasLab Unicron.
Heck yeah.
I opened it up, transformed it once, and I said, "This is a piece of," and I sold it. I was like, I don't ever want to transform. I transformed it back to mail it to the person I sold it to, but I'm like, I hate this thing. I don't ever want to transform this thing again. It's awful. Yep. It was Unicron. Unicron is the most recent and the most expensive example.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Mine was the War for Cybertron cliff jumper that came out, because I had
The
the
recent one?
original, like the old school one. I used to have that one. That one was complicated, but I was not the happiest with how that transformed. I'd sold those a long time ago.
Yeah,
But when
the
new
old
one
ones
came
were
out, I was like, okay,
the old
this is
ones
cool.
looked great, but they were complicated and
Yeah, and
it's kind of scary
they were too big.
sometimes.
They really were too
Yeah.
big. They should have been a lot smaller. But then this one came out. I was okay, cool. I'm going to try it out, see, because I was kind of almost getting in that mode that I was like, you know what, it might be kind of cool to go back and get all the older, game toys. So I bought that one and I started messing with it, and I was just like, this thing was a piece of junk. I couldn't get it into car mode at all. I even followed MGO's thing and still could not get this stupid thing to click together in the back. I got rid of it immediately. I was so disappointed in that toy, and I'm just like, it's kind of
Those two are a little weird. They're not as complicated, but they're still not.
They don't work.
They're
That's
still not the most
problem.
straightforward.
Yeah,
I don't mind them. I mean, I've liked most of the gaming series, the War for Cybertron stuff, for what it is.
mhm.
But yeah, those two are still weird. The Bumblebee and the Cliff Jumper.
Yeah.
It's just like the stuff that it's at least not as complicated or as honestly scary as the originals, because the originals, it felt like you were going to break something when you were
There was a
transforming
lot
the
of
backpacks.
translucent plastic in the originals. Like, they literally painted over the plastic, and I'm like, why can't they just?
But I feel like with these two, there are a
custom?
couple of parts where it's just like they don't want to. It's like you're playing with it, try to line it up right, and eventually just go, and you just force it into place.
I was having to like force the back of this thing together, and I couldn't get it together.
Yeah.
It would not go, no matter what I did. I looked at it, and there has been a tolerance issue with those toys. There just had to been, because it kind of like a thing around the everybody was complaining about this with this, and I'm like, I wanted to try it because I was like, I genuinely like that style of toys. I always thought they were cool, but that's what really kind of turned me off, was that, because I used to have the War for Cybertron Optimus. I hated transforming that thing. It looked great in robot mode, looked great in car mode, but you know where they lose me? The fun. The fun is in the middle. what you're supposed to be doing is having fun, turning it from this to this. When I feel like I'm doing a chore, why? It makes you feel like you've kind of been ripped off at that point, money-wise. Because you're supposed to be having fun with something, and you're not having fun when you're trying to turn it from one thing to the other. I don't think any of us had an issue with that with mini-bots. I don't think I was ever mad because I couldn't turn Bumblebee into his little beetle and then turn around and put him back in robot mode. You know, it was fun. So I think that's
Best toys are still the best toys on the planet are still the flip changers.
honestly, I like the flip changers. I'm the
I'll go
jump
at bat for
starter
them.
guy. I'm the flip starter guy. The flip changer guy. I love those toys because they're fun. They're not cumbersome. Doesn't take me like if you look at like the original combiners, it doesn't take that long to put them into, you know, their individual modes and their combined mode. The newer ones takes how long? Like I myself, I still admittedly have not gotten around to it. I have Devastator and I have Superion sitting right over here on the desk. I have not gotten to because I've been so busy. The new ones. But when I had Combiner Wars Devastator, I did not have fun putting that thing together. But if I mess around with, like, say, my Generation 2 Devastator, I enjoy it. It's fun. I don't know what it is. It just didn't feel like it was going to fall apart, BMS, or I'm going to snap a tab or something like that. The new stuff just felt so thin to me. And I'm just like, if I force it, is it going to break? I'm just so nervous. And I already have shaky hands as it is. And I'm just like, it's not fun to transform this robot into this vehicle mode or turn it into a limb without me feeling like it's going to snap in half.
Well, I think that's where the missing link line really shines, because there's something to be said with familiarity and knowing how to transform it. And then especially with Sunstreaker when I got it,
Right.
because I knew in my head it's going to be different. It's going to be different, and it wasn't. And I'm like, man, it's just like the original. And then all of a sudden, you can move it, pivot it, that you couldn't do with the old one. And that's where you notice the changes. And
But
it
it's
just
still
took that
fun.
fun factor to a next level. It was even better because you know how to transform it, but it had a little extra. So I love that line. Like I said, I'll buy just about every one they make. It's, to me, it's the best idea they've ever come out with.
No, I agree with you 100% on that. I personally think when it comes to our toys being bigger because we're bigger, shouldn't be the factor. I think what it should be is it familiar? Is it fun? Does it hold together fine? And is it worth the money? I think that's what the overall scheme is here. Like a lot of us would love to have Seekers that we don't have to parts form, that are just like the G1s. A lot of us want to have, you know, they've already done with Optimus Prime where you don't have to parts form anything on him. How many of us would be chomping at the bit if they actually took the Generation 1 Devastator, it gave this silly thing articulation and made it a missing link style? People would
Who knows?
dump the money on that immediately.
Have you guys gotten your missing link RC yet?
I'm
Mine
supposed
is
to
en
get mine
route.
this week.
Yeah,
All right. So maybe
Entertainment
we could
Earth.
talk about it next week.
Yeah.
Entertainment Earth had them, and normally I get my stuff from BBTS generally, but Entertainment Earth had a coupon code, so I saved about $20 and got free shipping. So I went ahead and went that route, and mine should be here hopefully this week.
Did you get
The
both of them,
BBTS
or
got
did you only
in
get
the-
one of them? Sorry.
I think only the prototype ones released so far.
No, both are
No,
out.
well, BBT,
If they both?
yeah, both hit my pile of loot at BBTS, but I canceled them because the mine were en route from Entertainment Earth because I saved the $20.
So
It's just-
BBTS must be getting more in of the. It must have sold out on the anime version. Because I put up a pre-order for it the other day because I had canceled my pre-order a little bit back Just because I was like trying to avoid certain things hitting
Yeah.
for a little bit. So I pre-ordered it, and then I noticed the other one was already in stock. So they must just be anticipating getting a second shipment of those.
Because I'll be honest, RC's kind of my thing. It's kind of my brand. But the prototype RC, while I appreciate it being a representation of the original design, to me, with the slightly different face sculpt, to me it's more Elita 1 than it is the prototype. So I'm just using her as like a G1 Elita 1.
Makes sense. So, Brett, did you buy both?
Yeah, I got both coming.
Cool. I personally, I haven't ordered them because obviously you guys know me. I've kind of stepped back on buying a lot of stuff. I do have a friend of mine. He says he really doesn't want them because he doesn't want anything that's more modern. I told him it'd be cool if they actually released it where it actually had G1 articulation instead of the over articulation. That'd be interesting to see them do that. So people can actually have a G1 version versus a missing link version. If that makes any sense. But I don't know. Some people like less articulation. I don't blame them because sometimes the articulation gets in the way of standing them on a shelf for a long period of time because sometimes a knee will just get weak out of nowhere and it'll fall. But yeah, I always thought it'd be interesting if they did that. That's just something that I always thought was kind of cool that they did this, but maybe retroactively go backward with it just for, say, a Pulse exclusive version or something. You know what I mean? Because in a way, they wouldn't have to worry so much about more tooling because they can literally probably make it so that way that certain joints aren't actually made so that she doesn't have certain ones. I know 6.0 actually has a review out on both of them. So it does look really good next to Hot Rod and Cup. I do have to admit that. She does look very good next to them. So it does fit the bill. But I understand some guys that are hardcore G1, I want my bricks. It'd be interesting to see them do that for those guys. Because there are some guys like that I've met in the fandom that's all they want. So it's just one of those things. I think
Oh man, Missing Link to me is such a perfect combination of brick and modern.
No,
I mean, look at Ultra Magnus. I mean, it's going to be a brick but posable.
Yeah, but I mean, I have met some people that don't want it's modern. I don't want it. That's what they say. So, to me, it's like, well, if they did it and made it feel like it's like a new version, but a new reissue version, or something, I don't know, in their eyes. Because I mean, I've met even some of the guys that like they'll even buy the animated recolored ones Walmart had there for like the Hot Rod and the Hound and all the Seekers and stuff like that, where they're all just like the animation colors versus the G1 toy colors, and they just bought those because, well, it's a variant of the original toy. There are a lot of people I've met that's what they want. They don't want high articulation in their toys, which I think sometimes could also help drive the price down a little bit on stuff if they don't have to put so much engineering into something too. So, but I don't know. It's an interesting way of looking at things because it makes me sit back and look at certain things. Like I myself, I don't like a whole lot of articulation in my stuff either because it gets to a point that I had stuff like that, and then I'd walk by and then I wouldn't even like shake the floor or anything, and I figured it'd fall off. Oh, it's just because his waist was getting loose, his hips got loose, so he decided to just fall over. We ain't even touched it in ages, So I understand the people that really just want that. They want all the robots to kind of just stand in a straight brick pose. Well, if that's what they want, then sometimes I don't think it's bad to give them that if that's what they really want, collecting wise. I don't think they need to do like a crazy, insane amount of them, but maybe just like I said, like a Pulse exclusive release, short release of just that, just to fit that bill for some of those guys. Because I even talked to my buddy. He was like, "Yeah, I'd buy it if it didn't have a crazy articulation. If it was a straight brick that transformed simply just like G1 Optimus did. That's it. No special swivels and stuff like that, so you can put them in crazy poses. They don't only do it. He's like, I don't need my figures to do an Iron Man pose." Which
Has your buddy looked or even held any of the Missing Link toys?
No, he doesn't want them. He's messed with them before, but he's just not into them.
They are 100% like the originals.
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
They move just like the originals and everything. The extra gimmicks are until you move them.
Right.
It's not going to be what he's saying is not going to happen.
Yeah,
they just don't. The extra articulation that Prime has, you wouldn't know it unless you started pulling the joints and they moved.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do that.
I mean, to be honest, since I had sold off my entire G1 collection, if I was to go back into collecting G1 again, I probably would do the Missing Link stuff just because it is that. But I'm also one of those kind of guys that I'm very skeptical on buying highly articulated figures all the time, because I've had a lot of them just have issues after messing with them.
They're not as articulated as you think. They're just enough. Well, I mean, for me, what I want to do eventually is have the original box, my boxed one, and then the Missing Link in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see what it looks like, but it is different.
What you need to do is get stands, so that way you can put them in the same pose that they are on the box.
Hey, it'd be a good idea if they came with stands. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I know, right? We talked about that.
Right.
But
on a side note, there you go. On a side note, just because we were in the middle of it before. Hey.
Oh.
I did put him together.
He has lights on him, right?
Oh, is that Lego Soundwave?
Yeah.
No.
Cool.
That's
Blocky. Oh, no, that's the Blocky. The Blocky.
Oh, okay.
If I can remember how to do it. There it is.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, you started putting that together last week, right?
I started.
When we got off.
Hang on.
How long did it take to put it together?
Oh gosh, it was a few hours.
I mean, that's not that bad for a model kit, to be honest.
Thing is. Anyway, he makes noises too. If I can remember how to do it.
It's a pretty good size figure. It's about liter size. Voyager or liter.
See, it talks. But guess what? Came with a stand.
Yep.
And then he comes with a little Frumble and a really cool Ravage.
Those are good size.
They're pretty big
too.
Rat-Bat.
Oh wow, Rat-Bat's pretty big.
Laser beak I put on his arm.
How much was that set?
The heck of it. It's got a little tape. And the reason they have this is because you can because Laserbeak comes with two different legs, and if you use the leg with the hole, you can plug him onto this, and he has his own little stand.
That's great.
So, $40.
That's a pretty, if you can stand putting them together, that's a pretty good value.
It is not putting the other ones together. It's not like that. It took a couple hours.
Yeah. And that doesn't seem unreasonable for a model kit, to be honest with you. I mean, a Lego set will take you a couple hours.
I want to put it together. So, I mean, that's...
Yeah.
But it's pretty good.
Don just bounced on what happened there.
But But yeah, for $40, you get what? Five toys. Count these little guys, and they
It's not
move.
bad.
I mean, they're posable. It's pretty good.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
And then
price point wise,
and
that's
then
perfect.
yeah. If I can hit the button there. There. His tape does open. He comes with a little fake tape to put in there. Because these do not transform.
Yeah.
And then you just put them back in. But yeah, electronics and everything, and $40.
Don said his internet's flickering.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Dawn's having technical difficulties.
Yeah, those things happen.
But
I'm surprised that I've not gotten caught in a thunderstorm and gotten kicked off, to be honest with you. I don't know what it is about my area, but every time a storm comes in, the power flicks. Annoying.
he just had rain. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you get those lines that are buried, and sometimes there's there's places where there might be like a little leak or something like that, and it'll cause shortages or flicks.
Yeah, in my area, everything's underground.
Yeah.
Everything's underground.
Yeah, so everything in my area is underground except for a road over. Everything is not underground, and so despite the fact that everything's under the ground for us, we still get power flicks because of it.
I think it's
See if I can find it.
It's kind of funny. They decided to install Google Fiber in all of our apartment buildings here, and I'm like, okay, we weren't ever going to get Google Fiber. I mean, it's in the building now, but whatever. But when they decide to put the lines, because it's fiber optic, to run it underneath the parking lot areas where people drive in, there's a raised up bump coming into our driveway area now because of how they had to lay the fiber optic under there. And I'm like, all it's going to take is people driving over that enough times. It's going to pack it down and snap it in half. Why would anybody do that? It's the dumbest thing. What on earth?
Cable companies.
Dude, what is that one
Yeah,
from?
someone was selling it. I had to buy it.
Is that Robotech?
That is Robotech. I'd never seen this one.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've seen some Robotech gun. I actually have one of the squirt guns, the red one. It's the one I have.
And it transforms so badly.
Those guns were so, oh, it's so great. I love it. Does it have electronics? Or is it just a cap gun?
That's the other thing. It's not a squirt gun. You got it, but yeah, it's a cap gun.
Okay. So I didn't know if this one
I
had.
do not think it has any electronics, no. But
did it come with any caps?
No, I need to get some caps.
You can still get them.
And he's got a
dollar store.
Man, he's got a sway. Look at that. He's got a sway. That's how he stands. Almost leaning back. He's like, yeah, buddy.
I didn't even know that existed.
That's
but,
Megatron.
I mean, I'm not very.
That's Megatron's
it up
arch
for sale.
nemesis.
He put it up for sale. And then I know someone that'll be very happy about this. I grabbed this bag just because I had to.
Oh, good grief. Oh,
I'm going to see if I can put another one together.
sick. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love all the colors that those guys come in.
Verticus is amazing.
It was one of the better. Even including the unreleased ones, I think that one was better looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Verticus always had some really, really interesting colors. I still love the G2. It's amazing. It's always going to be my favorite. But I think we've talked this to death tonight.
Yeah,
that's what we usually do.
We usually do, and that's how it goes. Because next week we're going to talk about HasLab. And yeah, that should be
We'll have to
interesting.
take out the combat. We accidentally skipped over the Combaticons too. We should talk about that a little bit next week.
You know, we can we'll talk about that because we're going to be talking about HasLab because there is a combiner in there too. So it should be interesting talking about this stuff because we have plenty of stuff. Every week there's something new, so it's hard to keep up with all of it. If we did
A lot of stuff.
I don't know, like 2 or 3 times a week, we'd stay on top of it. But we only do this once a week, so
there's been a lot of toy shows in the last several weeks. So
yeah. But if anybody watching puts anything in the comments, stuff like that, let us know. If there's anything we haven't covered, you guys want us to talk about, just feel free to let us know. Anyway, we're gonna do our sign-offs, and then we're going to get out of here. Go ahead, Brett.
Good night, everybody.
Cyber.
good night, everybody.
That's it.
All right.
And remember, you can find Don in all the places that you can usually find Don.
Just
Where
check him
Don
out
is
on
at.
RFC.
Yeah, go look at it. Yeah, go look at another episode for his sign off because I don't remember all of the different things. But
You can find Don where Don is at.
Exactly.
now where Don is at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you guys next week.